from Nashville is Fox News commentator Tomi Lahren. Tomi, welcome to the Independent Republic of Mike Graham. Delighted that you could join us. I think it's the first time we've had you on, so a very good evening to you. Joe Biden has finally decided to do something. I mean, I'm not expecting him to tell us what he's going to do, but does anybody really believe he's going to do something akin to what Donald Trump did and actually take out one of these people?
No, and I would also go on to say that all Joe Biden has warned Iran for the last several months has been one word: don't. Well, apparently those in Iran don't understand the word don't, and they don't understand Joe Biden because Iran has done whatever it has wanted to do because our president is weak. And it's quite obvious to the world. It's obvious to our allies. It's quite obvious to our enemies. And, you know, this really started with disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. That really was the beginning of the decline of the Biden administration. But the world sat back and they watched the Afghanistan botched withdrawal under Joe Biden. And then after that, they watched him coddle Iran. They watched him unfreeze sanctions to Iran, therefore funding them. They've watched his every move. They've watched a Chinese spy balloon circulate the United States for a week before it was shot down. So our enemies are obviously very emboldened. They know that this president isn't going to do anything beyond slurping a smoothie and telling our enemies don't. Well, unfortunately, our enemies don't understand don't, and they don't understand Joe Biden, and they certainly know where he stands, and that's on very shaky ground, both figuratively and literally.
Well, that's right. And it's dangerous for the United States of America and for the rest of the world if you've got a US president to whom nobody pays any attention. I mean, I'm told that when he went to Saudi Arabia, he was more or less having to sort of beg for an audience with the Crown Prince. And, you know, the view in Saudi Arabia was, well, you know, we don't really need America, but it's almost like we can keep them in the waiting room. We'll meet them when we're ready.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, contrast that to former President Donald Trump. You know, like Donald Trump or hate Donald Trump, it really doesn't matter. No foreign wars under Donald Trump, decimated ISIS under Donald Trump, took out terror leaders under Donald Trump, because Donald Trump could utter a word like don't, and the world would listen, because Donald Trump was not to be messed with. He did what he said he was going to do. The world was on alert. Our allies were comforted. Our enemies were terrified. They respected Donald Trump because under Donald Trump you had peace through strength. But Joe Biden, he hands them a blank check that they undoubtedly use for terrorists and terrorist proxies, and then he expects them to be fearful. If we're worried about Iran and other, you know, terror countries getting a nuclear weapon, well, they're going to do that under a President Joe Biden because they know that that's the easiest time to do it. And also look no further than our wide open southern border. You don't even have to attack our soldiers. You can attack us through our wide open southern border, and you can send your terrorists and your terrorist proxies right up and through into our country, and Joe Biden won't do anything about it. So it's weakness on every level, at every stage, and the world knows that if Donald Trump is reelected, which we hope he will be, that their time for doing this is very limited. That's why they're striking now, so don't expect it to end anytime soon.
No, exactly right. And is there any fear that Joe Biden, in his foreign policy decision-making, is going to be doing things that he thinks might help him at the election? Is it going to be possible for him to kind of behave as if he was a president without thinking about getting re-elected?
No, I don't think so. I think some things will happen as far as maybe gas prices, inflation, interest rates, things that he can manage and things that he can manipulate. But when it comes to our position on the world stage and our position with our allies and with our enemies, I don't think that there's anything that Joe Biden could do at this point, even if he was trying to manipulate the public favor or put out the perception of being strong. I don't think he has it in him. And I think he's also compromised. If you look at the investigations into his family and his foreign business dealings as they relate to Hunter Biden, I think this man is wholly compromised. He's weak. And that's a combination that really doesn't give Americans or the world much comfort.
Right. And let me just not let you go before asking you about Taylor Swift, because I saw you were talking to Sean Hannity the other night on Fox. He was concerned that, you know, Taylor Swift's going to try and endorse Joe Biden again. I quite liked what you had to say. Tell us what you said.
Well, listen, I think Taylor Swift is incredibly intelligent, obviously a wonderful businesswoman. When she does something, it succeeds. So I don't think she's going to hitch her wagon to Joe Biden. I also personally don't think that Joe Biden is going to be the Democrat nominee. But I think Taylor Swift right now is entering an era where she's winning, and she's going to continue to win. So you don't attach yourself to a loser like Joe Biden. I give her more credit than that. And I also think that some of the American conservative hysteria surrounding Taylor Swift, I think it's a little unwarranted. Let the girl live her life. I do think she's actually a pretty good role model for young women. So I say let Taylor live. You know, football fans might be disgruntled, but I think Taylor Swift has a pretty good head on her shoulders. I hope she doesn't prove me wrong.
Yeah, she's a great American success story. I agree with you. I think she should be celebrated for everything she does. Tomi, great to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Hope we'll have you back again soon. Tomi Lahren there, Fox News contributor.